Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 134 of the WP Café show, the show where we share the real, unfiltered experience of running a WordPress business. I'm Mark Wilkinson, and as always, I am joined by my colleague, Keith Devon, my co-host. We're from Highrise Digital, a tiny agency building WordPress websites and products. And today we're diving into a few things, including a multi-site, new release of WordPress, new release of advanced custom fields, and lots of other things we've been working on over the last few days, few weeks. So we'll be looking at those. If you can follow us on X. We're at WP Café Show. That's also our web address. So please do think about following us on there, and do subscribe to the channel and like the video if you're enjoying it. It always helps us. If you're watching along live, then thank you. It would be great if you could let us know that you're here and where you're from. Give us a comment in the live chat. That would be great. So let's get started. How are you, Keith? How's your week been? Or a couple of weeks, because we've been off the air last week, haven't we? So
yeah, good. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, I was in Bruges last Friday, so that was very pleasant. Went over for a little 24-hour trip on the ferry. Went around the Christmas markets and stuff, and yeah, it was really nice. So that's where I was last Friday. Yeah, good. Kind of reasonably busy couple of weeks. I think there's a bit of a, especially for one of our clients, a bit of incentive to use up some budget before the end of the year. So there seems to be a lot going on all of a sudden, which has been good. And then there's been, a few WordPress builds on the go. And then just the usual bits and pieces, chats with you and figuring out how to make our way in this world. So yeah. How about yourself?
Yes, it's been a funny week or a couple of weeks. I've had some quiet days and then some manic days. Like everything seems to be happening all at once. So it's been nice to get stuck into some stuff on that project that you mentioned. That client seems to want to be gathering pace towards the end of the year, getting everything done, I think. So it's been nice to crack on with that sort of stuff. And then just the usual, I've obviously got things to chat about, but we'll chat about those now when we look at our different things. So.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, I guess the big one is we have a new version of WordPress. Woohoo! WordPress 6.9 landed. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was the second, wasn't it? Anyway, a few days ago. So hopefully you've updated your sites. Most of ours have auto-updated themselves, and they're all good. Haven't seen any issues on our sites. I don't know if you guys have seen any issues on your sites. It's been pretty smooth. So what do you think? What are you excited about using? Have you used anything in there before, Keith? What do you think?
I'm not excited.
No.
There's nothing. Don't get me wrong. This looks like a perfectly good release. But yeah, excitement levels are very low for me. It's another one of those releases where I'm thinking some nice little new features, lots of stuff going on under the hood, but nothing that's really helping me directly helping me on a day-to-day basis. There's nothing in there that I think, thank God, yes, now I can do that easily. I just don't have that. I haven't had that kind of moment maybe in a little while with WordPress. So there's, that we could go through the headline features if you want and just, bounce around some ideas for them. That they're not all tested by any means, but I did have a look at the notes feature this morning, and I thought it was broken, but it was actually because we have a plugin installed on lots of our sites called Disable Comments. So if the Disable Comments plugin is installed, the new notes feature does not work because the notes feature uses the comments system under the hood.
Interesting.
So I was trying to figure that out because I was like, well, comments are enabled on this, and then other sites it was working with comments disabled through the normal UI, the default UI, and they were still working. The notes were working on those sites, and I was like, oh, it's this plugin, it's this Disable Comments plugin. So that turns the notes off. Notes just in general, great idea. I don't know how powerful they are yet. I don't know if you get notified of them. I'm not sure.
You do, because I got an email this morning and I was like, what is that?
Okay, interesting. So why did you get an email, I wonder?
Am I the author of the post that you're commenting on?
Because as far as I could see, I couldn't @ you That was one of the things I was
Right.
trying to do. I was like, can I? Maybe you can. Like, this is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I couldn't immediately see that I could send a note to you, like tag you
Yeah.
in it. But maybe you can. That would be a really obvious good next feature, because you don't want your emails to be spammed with me just making little notes to myself. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm just
I
gonna
might just be writing
find.
something on that note saying, oh, just a reminder, put this bit of content in later on.
Yeah.
You don't want to be getting all those notes because it's nothing to do with you. So if, yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So I wonder what the system is. Like you say, is it the author of the post gets notified, or is it all the admins, or all the? I've got no idea.
I
Um,
can probably tell which post it was. It was that post.
But
I think I don't know. The email I got. It's titled site name, and then it says note : and then it says agent hub. I don't know what that means.
right.
Your new was that the name of the post? Oh, that's the name of the post. That's why, or the page.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know why I got that notification, because I don't think I'm the author of that. I'm not the author of that.
Okay, so that's something to figure out, like who gets the notifications of these things. Like, I'm not entirely sure. And you can reply to a note, but can you have multiple notes and multiple kind of threads on a single block? There's lots to figure out around this, but it's the start of something good, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and potentially when you can integrate notes with Slack or whatever, you know, maybe there's going to be cool stuff going forward with that. So that's one of the big ones. The next, I'm just on the landing page of the release. So wordpress.org/download/releases/6-9. The next one is visual drag and drop, and I was like, what? What?
We already
do we not
got
already
that.
have? Do we not already have visual drag and drop? Like, and I went in to see. It says here, building layouts is now more intuitive and flexible with clear drag handles. Okay, I can't see any difference to the drag handles. Again, they're probably there somewhere. I'm probably doing the wrong thing. And a live preview that shows exactly what you're moving. I couldn't do this, but I was only testing it with like paragraph blocks and stuff. So maybe certain blocks, like images, are more intuitive to drag around.
I'm just looking at the video.
Yes.
And the video, so when you drag, like the whole block and its contents, you can see moving around the screen. I don't think that happens before 6.9.
I didn't see that.
Right.
When I did my test. But like I say, I was only dragging a paragraph around, and all I could see was the little blue line like that it used to be. So I don't really know what's going on there. But I can see why this would be kind of useful. It actually could be annoying, because if you're dragging and dropping a collection of groups or blocks, is that going to be annoying? Like if it's a lot and you've got this huge big thing you're dragging around the page. But I did find the drag and drop functionality that we had slightly clunky.
I agree.
So if they're making improvements to that, then that's a good thing. Command palette everywhere. I have never used the command palette. I probably should start using the command palette. I think it's going to be one of those things that if I build the muscle memory to go to that, then I'll find it very useful. But I currently don't use it, so I can't really say much about that.
What's the shortcut key for the command palette? I have no idea. So we'll know how to get it up on the screen. Command K.
I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. You must have used it before then.
yeah. So
I'm the same with you. I just don't use it. I can't get myself to use it. I don't know why.
I think if you use command palettes in other apps, which I don't, then that's something you would naturally go to. It's like, I guess it's like the difference between people using search on a website and navigation. Do you go straight for the search button to try to find what you're looking for, or do you go through the navigation menus? It's that kind of like just mental, you kind of do one or the other. I'm just not in that command palette world at the moment.
No,
but,
me neither. But
improvements there. Next one was weird. Okay, so the next one is fit text to container. So basically what this means is that you can type in some text, and that text will always fill the width of the container on a single line. So, if you just had the word text and you're on like a 900 pixel wide container, it's going to be a big, big letters. If you have a small container, small letters. So the font size changes dynamically to fill the space.
Okay.
A couple
Very
of
niche.
things on this. Very niche. I've never, ever had to implement that in a design. In all my years of building websites, I have never been asked to do that. Okay, so that's one thing. So why is this a core feature? I don't really know. Number two, I went to try this out and I added a heading and I was like clicking around the options. Where the hell is the option for this? So I was like, looked in the design thing, then looked in the the block settings, the block toolbar, the whole lot. Could not for the life of me find it. And then someone I was talking to, Nick, he was like, I think it's a new block. Or no, it's like, I think it's a block variation. So I typed in stretchy, and then the block stretchy paragraph and stretchy heading came up. But
so the two separate blocks.
Well, I think they're block variations because the CSS of the heading was WP-block-heading.
Right.
The class name. And then they do a bunch of JavaScript with data attributes and stuff to generate the right font size. So I don't know. For me, that's just one of those. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a bell and whistle when the fundamentals are still kind of crap. Like,
how does that get?
We're crying out
forward?
For better basics. We don't need fit text to container. Like, it's just not a priority. Why is it a priority? It feels like it's just like someone's had this cool idea that's going to look like a kind of fun headline feature. Great.
But I guess that's the nature. That's the nature of open source development. Someone has decided they wanted to build this. They've built it. It works. So
put it.
It's been decided it's going into core. We need people to be.
And I don't want to. I'm not dunking on the person who developed this or who the idea behind it or anything. It just feels that's one of the headline features of this release, and it's like, really, like, it's okay. Yeah. Is it really necessary? I don't know. And why isn't it like a style of one of those blocks or an option for one of those blocks that already exists? Thought that was weird. Like, you could even have it in the font size picker as like the bottom option. It's like fit to container.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not that? Like, I don't know. There's probably technical reasons.
I suppose the argument, the counter argument to that is that this will have been discussed somewhere, probably on GitHub. So you could have jumped in and put all these suggestions forward at the time, I guess.
No, I'm done with.
I completely understand.
I'm done with like any attempt to contribute in that kind of way. Yeah. To be fair, I never made a really meaningful effort to do that, but I think that's partly because I knew I thought I knew what that experience was going to be like, and I didn't want to put myself through that. So anything else from you? So those were the kind of like top headlines. There's lots of behind the scenes stuff that
I think there's. I always like the performance stuff. There's apparently lots of performance stuff coming out. I saw Johnny Harris tweeting this week that like there's a massive, like he was like, this is the best feature in like obviously in this release because this is a really big performance wins. Cool. I'm not going to go into the technical details about them, but there is a lot in there, so it's good. It's got to be good. They've got this thing called the Abilities API, which I believe is primarily for AI, which I guess has got to be a good thing. If that's the direction that the web is going in, then WordPress needs to keep up. So it needs to be able to allow AI to interact with WordPress sites, which is good. There is some new blocks, which is interesting. I think they could be quite useful. Accordion block could be quite useful, which is different to the details block because you use these together. You have like a wrapper and then an accordion blocks inside the wrapper, so they're all like one thing. Yeah. Whereas the details blocks are very isolated unless you group them and then do something with them yourself. So that's quite useful. And interesting that there was a math block. So if you do math formulas and things like that, which we have actually had to install something for someone, one of our clients, our sort of engineering client. So that was interesting. They've got that facility live in Core. So maybe that's good as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, some good stuff. Like I said, nothing that's like, OMG, that's amazing. But I think there's some solid stuff in there, and it's good.
I've just did a quick test for this visual drag and drop thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work on paragraph blocks or heading blocks.
Right.
But I've just put, that's right. I've just put some text into a group block, and I can now, when I hover over like towards the borders of that group block, the cursor becomes like a little grab, like a little hand, and then you can drag it around, and it shrinks down slightly from its original size, and goes transparent, and then you can drag it around. So it seems to be on certain elements. It's more intuitive and flexible with clear drag handles. There is no drag handle apart from the fact that the cursor changes. So I don't understand what that means.
I'll have to have a try and have a play with that. I'm not so sure.
But that's potentially useful. Like, I didn't mind just clicking the block and then dragging by the drag handle. And interestingly, when you do that, you don't get the new like kind of preview transparent thing to drag around. It's just the old system, which I find weird. So it's only by not dragging by the drag handle that you get the kind of benefit of the kind of preview. Really weird.
Strange.
A bit broken, but
quick run through these comments. Hello, Seaball97. I don't recall seeing you along here before, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Elliot, thanks for joining us, Elliot. It says it was a shame to see the new templates UI punted to 7. I have to confess, I have no idea what that was. So
I haven't seen that yet.
Maybe it was the thing we're all waiting for. But yeah, thank you for that. And also, Elliot says, before you had the drag handle, now you can pick the whole element, subtle and a better UX. I'll have to play with that. It'd be interesting to see what it's actually like. And then in terms of the command palette, a lot of seasoned devs use keyboard more than mouse, so the command palettes are second nature to them. They do. I think lots use the keyboard, but I must admit I've yet to see someone who actually uses it or talk to someone who actually uses the command palette. But I'm sure there are lots out there.
No, there definitely will be. Yeah,
going to be good. Seaball97 still can't build good normal navigation menus in W6.9, but we get this. I guess that's what is a good normal navigation menu, I suppose. That's the question. And do have a look at Ollie's menu designer plugin.
Yeah, but I think the point is that that's a plugin. Like the native building menus, which is a core fundamental part of building websites, is crap in WordPress. And crap in WordPress core. It is.
So I was working on my site this week. We'll come back to that later in the list, I think, with the topics to discuss. And you can build a simple menu that's nested. Yeah. So that's why I'm interested in that comment. You can't build a good. What is a normal navigation menu? Because I'd say that is a normal navigation menu. I want 4 items in my menu, and I want one nested underneath it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can do that. So is that
not
normal?
Fair. Yeah.
So, but I'm not denying that it isn't the best experience. Put that way,
it's not a good experience, and it's very basic. You know, in terms of like,
I'll definitely give you that. Elliot says the Abilities API, get right, isn't just for AI. It's a standardization of how to access the inner workings and how you let remote access to WP. Okay, I need to read about it. I'm sure I've read about it, and I'm not one the wiser. So I think I do.
I read about it when it was first talked about, and there was a kind of example. I didn't even really understand the example, like why you would want to do what the example was saying. I think it's to allow third parties, including AI agents, to access functions within your website. So whether that's like a plugin function, go and get this type of post, and you could write like a kind of custom query within a plugin that you can give access to AI so that they can run that custom query within your website, or a third party can, or whatever.
So how is that different to the REST API? That's what I don't really understand.
I think it uses the REST API. So like that's how. Well, I think there's different ways that you can interface with these, I think, but
So in your example of a custom query, I don't, you might not be able to do that in the REST API out of the box, but you can certainly add a new endpoint to the REST API that returns the results of a custom query. What's the difference between the abilities API? Like, is it not? I don't know. I literally don't know. But anyway,
standardized, and I mean, it's more for it's for more than just queries, I guess. I don't really know, but obviously some people are getting very excited about it, and there seems to be a lot of work going into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. I'd rather be able to build menus easily than let AI agents do stuff on my website. But there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then Seaball97 mentions a couple of things that they're not happy about with the menu. That's no ability to change the burger icon to match a design. Burger can't be recolored if you have a dark header. Valid points, definitely valid points if that's the case, for sure. Yeah. So that is WordPress 6.9, and I've lost my notes. Where have they gone? There we go. So moving on, let's move on. Hopefully you've had a go with 6.9. If you've not, you can upgrade now via the WordPress admin and give it a go. See what you think of those things. Next topic, multi-site versus single site. So this is a hot topic for us because we have a client with a multi-site. And I am firmly thinking that it would be better to be in single sites. Because I'm struggling to come up with a list of benefits for it being in a multi-site. Or I can give some benefits, but the benefits with it not being in a multi-site, for me, far outweigh the negatives. What are your initial thoughts on this?
Initial thoughts?
Because we've used several multi-sites in the past.
Yeah, there's not that many sites in this particular instance.
There's about 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, so that's worth considering. If we were running a 1,000 website network, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. But there's a small enough number of sites that we are having this conversation.
Yep.
I think a lot of our problems are down to the hosting implementation and the tooling that the hosting provider, which is WP Engine, have for the specific way that we've set up the multi-site. I say the specific way, that makes it sound like we've done something custom. We haven't. No. We're just we're using subdomains. No, we're not.
We're not using subfolders, but they're all mapped to a domain anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
A lot of these hosts, we use WP Engine for this. It's not our WP Engine account, it's the customers, they've used WP Engine.
Yeah.
And a lot of the tools, the great tools that WP Engine provide as part of being a managed host, one-click staging and copy to live, copy to staging, they don't work with multi-site. They just don't work. So every time we want to make a change and push something to staging from live, like we want to get a copy of the site on the staging, it's a whole support ticket. It's a database migration, search and replay. Basically, we can't do it with the buttons and the tools that they have in the admin. And they all seem set up, and probably rightly so, because most people use a single site install. They're all set up to just work for WordPress single site installs. So we were actually on a call with them yesterday or the day before, talking about some improvements to a customer's site and what they can do to help us and things. And they actually have a new performance tab in the back end, which is really good. It's going to report performance issues with different pages or different things, and talks about Lighthouse as well and things like that. And that was reporting as good for the site. But the problem is it's only looking at the primary site in the network. It's not actually looking at each site. So you can't get data for all the sites.
Performance reports
using this new feature that they built. And it's the things like that just you don't get the advantage of. So what are the advantages of us using multi-site? Well, there's a few. One of them is the users. So every user in the network has one user for all the sites. So if they change the password, they've changed it on all the sites. They don't have to do that on every site, for example. They're not logged in all the time, though, on all sites. They have to log into each site individually. But that is a big advantage. I think it is a good advantage. It's a good benefit to do that.
But again, with 7 sites, that's very different to 1,000 sites.
Correct. Yeah. So that's a good advantage. Obviously, you can run code across the network. So if I want to, run a piece of functionality, I can add a plugin and network activate it straight away across all the sites. But in practice, we never want to do that. We always want to introduce things to one of the sites first, run it, test it, feedback it, change it, and then test it again, and then push it out to all the sites. So in practice, we never really use that button that says network activate because we want to test it on one site first.
Yeah, and when we have used that button, it's caught us out further down the line because then whenever you want to test turning that plugin off on one particular site to test if it's the cause of some kind of issue, then you need to network deactivate it and quickly reinstall it on all the other sites, and it's just a faff where it would have been much easier just to install it on all the sites, and then you have fine-grained control.
And then other benefits are, well, obviously you've got the updates, so you can update all of the code. It's just one install, you're just pushing it to one place, and that's fine. We auto update pretty much everything, so that doesn't really come into play for us. And if they were in single sites, when we obviously use our deployment tools, we can just push it to several servers, so we don't have to do anything different. We just commit it to the main or the master or what's called the main branch, and it will auto push it to several servers instead of one. So again, I don't really see that as a massive benefit to us. And then another massive issue is local development. Like, you know, the multi-site is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not massive, but it's massive compared to the sites that we're working on normally. You know, to pull it down is like 40, 50 gigabytes. The database, I would imagine, is a couple of gig at least. So running search and replace tools on it's hard. It's just hard work. So if I'm doing a feature for one of the sites, I can't just grab a copy of that site and run it locally really quickly. So I've got exactly the same. It's just really difficult to do, and make sure, you know, maintain that as well. So I think that would be much easier if they were in separate sites. And also, if you have an issue on a site, so let's say we introduce a feature and we've pushed it to a site, we've made a plugin, we've added it to the network, we've activated it on site A because that's the one we want to test it on, and then something breaks, we can't just restore site A from a backup. We have to restore the entire network. Whereas if they're in single sites, you've got that more isolated instances of things where you can, you know, do things on their own. So, excuse me, I think the benefits of making them single sites outweigh the benefits of having them in a multi-site. And what I really want someone is to say to me, slap me around the face and say, Mark, what are you on about? That's ridiculous. This is why you should be doing it in multi-site. I haven't actually had that from anyone yet. I've asked a few people, put it out on Twitter. People have responded with various different arguments. So if you've got an opinion, let me know.
Yeah. I'm fairly on the fence with this, to be honest. I think it has become painful from a development point of view to work as a multi-site.
A couple of comments. Elliot, thank you, says MS single login, multi-site single login for super admins. So I think it's what we were saying then, a single user table, so everyone has the same user. Lockdown plugins for network sites. So you can only install certain plugins.
Themes,
I assume, but you could probably just, I don't know. Lockdown themes, again, you could do that on single sites, so because you just wouldn't put it on a certain site, I guess, if you didn't want it on there. So yeah, there's some. Again, I'm still seeing the advantages as not advantageous to us as much. And then Excelams, thanks for joining us. Have you tried the WP Migrate plugin when transferring a multi-site locally? I don't know. I don't think I have.
How did you try? What were you trying to do previously when you tried to do it?
Copying the database across, find and replace, setting up the domains on my local machine, that sort of stuff. And it's painful. So,
well, maybe we should give that a go. I mean,
yeah, that's a good idea actually. We could also use that to extract the sites to single sites if that was necessary, because we saw that as a tool, didn't we, when we were looking at like the best way to do that. So
yeah, great tool that.
Yeah, it is. And then the last comment, I don't think it's anything to do with this. Hi guys, has Mark managed to talk to Lemon Squeezy yet? No, I have failed to get hold of them anywhere.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows anyone at Lemon Squeezy, I'd love to talk to someone. I've submitted 3 sport tickets. I've asked on Twitter. I've even found some people on Twitter that apparently work for them and tried to contact them, because I am getting absolutely nowhere fast.
Yeah. And they have some of our money that they shouldn't have.
Yes, that they've taken, which is not good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the only other thing I can do now is contact the bank and say, don't take this money ever again from this company. But I don't know whether you can do that. I don't know. We'll find out.
I do. I mean, Lemon Squeezy's, started off as a startup, and I think, from people within the WordPress world, I think it's been acquired by Stripe.
By Stripe, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I don't think we're getting the level of support that maybe a small startup would give its very valued customers. I think now it's being swallowed up. And
well, I don't think I'm getting any level of support.
Well, no, and you go to try get someone, it's all AI based, and it's like, go to this page. That's
the same page as I just came from.
So it's not great. So if you're on Lemon Squeezy, I would potentially consider thinking about moving elsewhere. But we don't actually use it anymore, do we? Or do we?
No, hence the reason. So this all started last year. So last year, in fact, it started 2 years ago when I asked them to close both stores because we weren't using them anymore. Then it renewed again, and I asked them to refund the money and close the store, which they did. They refunded the money and told me they'd closed the store. And then the money came out again this year. So they obviously didn't close the store, and it's renewed again this year. You can't remove your credit card from the back end. You can only add a new one. So yeah, apart from cancel the card but then sometimes even if you do that, it'll still renew. So
and even if you do that, they still have money of ours that they shouldn't have. So
exactly. So that's the crux of it. So
and they're not replying to any support emails or requests.
We keep trying, but no. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. What do you want to tackle next? Block assets.
We've got a lot to talk about.
We have
got to whiz through some of this. Yeah, I mean, this is more your thing. So crack on, I guess.
Yeah. So we've got this actually in the multisite that we were talking about before. So we've got lots of custom blocks in there. They're all built by ACF. Some of them are built with the standard register block type format, which is what ACF moved to from their original. I can't remember what it's called, ACF register block or something it was called. And some of them are still on the old method. So there's a mix of the two. And we've got a page on the website. It's an archive page, and at the bottom of that page, the customer can add blocks. It's essentially pulling blocks from a specific post, like before the loop and after the loop. And when they were putting some blocks in there, those blocks weren't behaving as they should do. So I looked into it, and the reason was because the assets for those blocks, in specifically the JavaScript, wasn't being loaded on the page. And it wasn't being loaded on the page because we were loading those scripts using the has block function, which essentially is trying to say, if this page has this block, then enqueue this JavaScript.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize is that only works for the global post objects. So either if you're on a single post, it's the post that's in the loop, or if you're on an archive page, it is the main loop of posts. And it isn't any of them. So that's why it wasn't working. So I was just looking at some of the alternatives to do this. And what I've found is the best way to do this is actually we should be sort of enqueuing these in the plugins themselves. So for the newer type of blocks that have a block JSON file, I've added the front-end scripts, because these are all front-end things, like to turn them into a slider or do something like that with them. I've added them to the view script section of block JSON, which basically means that when this block loads, it loads that script. For the older ones, which didn't have a block JSON, I have ACF provided an enqueue assets parameter for the register block type function, and I have just enqueued them in there. So again, same thing. When the block loads, it does. I don't really know why we didn't do that to start with. No. It's probably just I hate to say it, but it's probably just like it was quicker to do it that way, and then it just escalated, and then it got to a point where we've got it wrong, sort of thing. So, so that's been done. And then for core blocks, so we did have some JavaScript that we wanted to load on core blocks. Media text was one, paragraph was another one, gallery was another one to do like a gallery logo slider thing.
Yeah.
There is a filter called block type metadata, and that essentially allows you to filter a block's block JSON file. So you can do the same thing, add the view script, and give it the handle of your JavaScript. So you'd register your JavaScript with WP register script, and then that's got a name, and then you use the name in the block script. So that was good. So it's much cleaner now. Everything's kind of inside the plugins.
There's still three ways to do it though.
Well, yeah, I think if you're talking core, there's two ways really, isn't there? Yeah. No, there's one way really. For core files, there's one way, and that's to filter the thing.
Yeah, the last.
It's just because we've got different blocks, we've got different versions and different. It's just that sort of thing. What I really want to do is actually update the ACF blocks to the new way of registering the blocks, so they all have a block JSON file. And I think I can do that without affecting the front end, as in they will, they'll just carry on working on the front end, because it's just the registration of the block. It's not the fields or the field groups or the output that's going to change. It can still use the same render engine on the front, I think. But I'd need to test it, but I'm pretty sure it'll work if I just change the way they're registered, and that'll make life a lot easier.
Will that interfere with like them rendering in the editor at all, do you think? Like that unexpected content kind of warning or anything like that?
I don't think so, because the render will be exactly the same. It's still the template file that we're using, so it should be fine. But I do need to test it, obviously. So that'll be a little project to sort of just update those blocks. There's probably about 7 or 8 custom blocks, I think, that we've got that could be updated to use block.json instead of the old function. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
What next?
Well,
Unless you've got anything else to add on that.
No, I don't have anything to add on that one. There's a few things. One, just quickly, because this one, I don't think we'll probably talk for too long about it, but just a problem that we're having. One of our clients wants to improve the performance, specifically the page speed score of their website. So we looked through the audit, and nearly every problem is to do with third-party scripts like HubSpot,
A/B testing
Microsoft
stuff,
Clarity, A/B testing stuff, OmniConvert, all these different tools that the client has added post-build. And I'm just wondering, is there anything we can actually do to improve the performance of those? I'm not convinced. I think you suggested this, and you could do it. You could just download that file and serve it locally in the way that you want to serve it. Using async or defer, or putting it in the footer instead of the head. But I don't know. For me, they're making an absolute mess of the performance of the site, and I've got a feeling that that's just the way it's going to be. But I don't know if other people have used tools like OmniConvert and managed to get them to perform well. Because one of the things that OmniConvert is doing, as far as I know, is actually changing the content on the page. Yeah. And the PageSpeed Insights is flagging that up as like, this content is changing very late, which is, causing these shifts in layout and blah, blah, blah.
That's kind of what it's supposed to do.
What it's doing its job, but killing the performance. And it's just, whether anyone has any
I mean, one of the things
on that.
One of the things it suggested was like updating the caching rules. So instead of being cached for, what was it, 5 minutes? I can't remember now. You'd want to cache it for longer than that. But the problem is I can't do that because it's not served from us. So then it was like, well, you could download it and then serve it yourself, and then you could set the proper cache. But then the problem is when they update it, you won't get the up. So it just doesn't seem the right thing to do.
I don't think we could use a locally hosted version of something like OmniConvert unless we had a system in place where we were going to constantly check if there was a new version, like automatically. Because they could change that at any time, and like
you'd never know.
We might be sending the wrong data for a month without knowing it, because they've changed their internal like structures and APIs and things. So that's not going to work. But just a thought, and it's a challenge for us at the minute. So if anyone hears this and is like, I know how to do it, or you definitely can't do that, then please do let us know. Because it would make a big difference if we could solve that.
So next on list, just quickly for this one because we've covered it before, but Advanced Custom Fields has recently released version 6.7. So and it's got all the goodies that we've talked about in the last few weeks. Most notably, it's got that sort of inline editing of text fields and things like that. So go and have a look at that. Good stuff in there. We use advanced custom fields a lot, so it's something worth looking at, and it's available now, so you can use that. Quick comment from Elliot. I hate third-party implementations. They have a real knock-on effect on performance. I usually just tell the client they have two choices: compromise or disable the third party. And yeah, I suppose.
Well, one of our suggestions to the client was just turn it off so it happens.
Yeah,
the performance.
But I don't know what OmniCurve does, but my only thought was that if it's A/B testing stuff, then surely you want to run that for a period and then stop it. You wouldn't want to leave it on all the time, would you? The whole point is like, I want to test this, which is better. That one's better. Let's use that one. Let's turn that off.
Well, yeah, it just depends if they're constantly running tests.
Yeah. So last on the list is Ollie, the Ollie theme and Ollie Pro. I know that we have decided to use this for one of our customers who had some specific work. So how have you been getting on with that? I know you made a start this week, Keith.
I made a start, yeah. Good and bad progress and good and bad experience, I think, with Ollie. First up, what an amazing thing that Mike has built, and not just in terms of the product, but like the brand of Ollie. Like it's become like synonymous with WordPress almost within like the community. So like amazing stuff. But from my personal experience, so I was we're working with a client. They have their own brand. So I was given color scheme, typography, logo, some visual assets to incorporate. Loaded up Ollie, installed all the plugins. We're using Ollie Pro. Chose which of the kind of, I don't know what he calls them. They're not themes because Ollie is a theme, but there's different versions. He's got like agency and studio and creator or something like that. So we chose one of those. I'm not really sure what that did.
Collections, I think.
I'm not really sure what that actually did. Anyway, I chose the one that the client said that they liked the most. And then it was into the kind of customization kind of world. So in terms of the brand, so you choose your color palette. So I was like, well, obviously I've got a custom color palette. So the first thing is I've got to put my brand colors in, and this is where I got a little bit stuck. So I was given a brand palette that has two main colors. It's like an orangey color and a dark gray color. Those are the kind of brand colors, and then there was a bunch of kind of secondary brand colors. If you need color, for something like a graph or like something like that. Yeah. But primarily it's these two things, and I was like, okay, so I'll go and input those. There are 11 colors in Ollie, so I put in my primary one. My secondary one didn't even fit because Ollie is expecting the secondary color to also be like a kind of vivid color for its designs to work. So I couldn't put my gray in. So I'm like, where do I put this dark gray in for it to fit? So I don't know. So the first thing, there's like brand, brand one or something, or primary brand. So like that's obviously like the golden kind of yellow orangey color. Then there's brand one alt. So that's meant to be like the color that you would use if you're using the brand color as the background. You would use this as the text, and vice versa. So those two colors are supposed to work well together. Then you've got the same thing for like the secondary brands. You've got the secondary brand color and its alternative. Then I think you even have like a tertiary or something like that. But then it starts getting weird. Then it's like base and base alt. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And I don't know where this is going to be used throughout the theme. So I don't know what colors to put in here. Then it gets even harder. It's like border and border alt. I'm like, can border not just be one of the colors I've already got? But if you look at the Ollie color schemes, they're all different. Every one of those 11 colors is different. So I'm like, I was starting to really struggle to know how to take Ollie's kind of color system and apply it to this very, very simple brand. Because I was like, yeah, go ahead.
Presumably, though, you don't have to use all the colors, do you?
No, but the patterns do. And the whole point of using Ollie is to use the patterns.
Right. Okay. So if I'm applying the brand, and I actually, yeah, brand accent, brand alt makes sense. I change those, but I don't change the rest. They'll just sit in the theme. So they'll be somewhere, won't they, in the theme then, those other colours. I'd need to
Yeah.
change them to something, I guess.
Exactly. That's I think
Mm.
so. And this is why if you take his color palettes out of the box, which I think is what you've done on, you were playing with it as well. Like
Yeah, yeah.
they'll look amazing, but then
It does look
and
brilliant.
that's one of the things he says. Like it's one of the reasons he sells Ollie is because he's put so much effort into creating these color palettes that look amazing, and they do.
Yeah, they look brilliant.
But I need to use a custom color, at which point the design falls apart to some extent. And I would say the same sort of goes for typography. So you can choose between all these different like typographic styles that he's created. So there's condensed styles and all these different things. That's, you know, some with multiple fonts, some with one font, some with whatever. I'm like, but I need my own, and I don't know which of these to customize or really how to customize. Do I just take one of the ones that Mike's done and replace that font with my font, or do I? So again, I was just a little bit like, I'm not choosing from this list, so what next? And I was a little bit lost as to like the best practice in this scenario. Anyway, I did something. I think I chose, because there was only one brand font and it could be used for body copy and heading copy. I chose the style that Mike created that only uses one, and just use my font instead of his, like replaced. But it wasn't that straightforward. Like I didn't just replace primary font with my font. I had to like go into the global styles editor and then start playing about with what's the body font. I had to install my font. Then I had to go in and like make sure the headings use mine and the buttons use mine and the paragraph use mine. So that experience wasn't brilliant either. Then it came to actually putting the pages together, and it was okay, but I did, and he does have some nice patterns, but then I found like even like the hero, I was like looking at hero patterns, I was like, I don't really like any of these, and like, why does it look so amazing on all his demos? And I just don't feel like I can get close to that. And then he will say, rightly, of course you can get close to that. I've given you all the tools, they're all here. But I have struggled to make it look good. I have. Okay. What was your experience?
Quickly, just Elliot says, it's the age-old issue with premium themes. They tend to be a bit opinionated and lock you in.
Yeah,
they're opinionated because they like, that's how they look good, isn't it? So my experience, I haven't worked on my personal site for donkey's years, so I just thought, while you're doing it for this client, I thought, why don't I try and do it as a non-front-endy designy person and see what I can produce? Yeah. And the goal for me was like, I love what Ollie looks like. You know, you look at the collections. So why don't I just use that? I don't need to change it. I don't need to make it green or blue, or I can just literally say, well, actually, I don't have a brand. I'm just going to pick that one because it looks cool. And it does. I've quite enjoyed using it. I've tried to be, you know, sometimes you look at it, don't you think, I could just change that? And I've tried to stop myself from doing that. I'm going to leave it as it is because it's beautifully designed. That's the point of it. That's why I've purchased it, because I wanted that beautiful pattern that looks lovely. Yeah. Obviously, I've had to change a few things because I wanted different content and so forth. But it was good. And I have to confess, most of the stuff that I found annoying wasn't really Ollie. It was just the block editor and the site editor. Yeah. It wasn't really anything to do with Ollie, you know. So I had one of his patterns uses like a 3 images across the front on the homepage. So I was replacing the default images, and I was putting images of me. I've got one of me speaking, one of me playing golf, and another one. And I changed the left-hand image, and everything shrunk. So they were like portrait images, and then they all became landscape images. And I was like, why? Like all I've done is replace the image. So it turns out that it's basically taking the highest image and matching them all to the highest image. Yeah. Which was, as a user, I was just utterly confused. I could not work out why it changed height for like 5-10 minutes. And then it just sort of dawned on me that they were actually different sizes. And the one I'd replaced was the one that was sort of causing it to be the right height. But that wasn't Ollie. That's just WordPress, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I've enjoyed using it. I think, and I've got to say, like we bought this. What was it, earlier this week, because we wanted to use it on this project and just give it a go. So part of that, you get access to the Slack group, which is really good. So as soon as I joined the Slack group, I'd literally press the button that says, like join. I loaded it up in Slack, and then I was on a call with you at the time, and I was like, hang on, Mike's like started a chat with me. I thought it must be like an automated thing, like welcome to the thing. No, it actually started chatting with me in like, thanks for downloading and buying all this. This is all, and I just thought, how good is that? Like,
Yeah,
straight in the chat, and he's there like for new people. So that was really good. And I actually put some questions to him about stuff that was bugging me and stuff, and he helped me really well. So it's good.
I think we've said it before, but I love that it's been such a success, and it's like this is going so well for him because he's solving real problems for people that use WordPress. He's taking WordPress, looking at things like the navigation, and thinking, I'm gonna fix that problem. Looking at things like how you manage CSS, I'm gonna fix that problem. Looking at things like we need some good patterns and design systems, I'm gonna fix that problem. I mean, and it's good. It's incredible. Well done, Mike. That's really great. He's a great guy to have in the community. He's doing good things.
Just going back to your issue though, with changing colors and typography, I assume you've checked if there's any documentation on that. Like,
yeah, I looked. He's got some stuff on the color system, but it wasn't. I don't find it particularly helpful. He didn't say when you're choosing a border, when you're choosing a custom border color, you need to think about that. It needs to work. It will be used in this way, and you need to think about these things. It's that kind of thing. You'd like,
because I would think this is a popular. Like, this is what a lot of people will use Ollie for. I would think, like, I'm going to call them assemblers, probably not developers who are building sites for clients and they want a nice looking site. So they're going to use it. I would imagine that's like a big audience for them. I want to use all them. I'm going to make a start with that. So surely this is something that is, it would be good to have guidance on from the builders to say, look, if you've only got 4 colors, this is the best thing to do. Or
exactly.
To get around or to work around.
How many brands that we work on have a really extensive color, branding
not
palette?
That many.
Like, not many.
4 or
it's
5.
usually like, here's a logo and it has 2 colors in it. Like, So,
but good, good.
Yeah.
So I think we'll wrap it up from there. Where's my notes gone? Lost them again. We'll wrap it up from there. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Lots to discuss. We usually go out every Friday at 1:30. We do miss the odd one, either because we've got nothing to say or we've got other stuff on, but we try and keep it as regular as we can. So hopefully you can join us again. Do subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and thanks for everyone for joining us live. If you're listening along in the podcast, thanks as well. And we'll see you in the next one, whenever that might be.
See you soon. Bye.